right, Ron, thanks very much. Yes, David Booth just getting congratulations from Chris Higgins on your tie. Looking pretty sharp. Hey, let's start with that. This is how you look coming into the building tonight. Oh. Did you get dressed in the dark or what?
No, that's a great tie. It was a gift from one of my good friends. So
but your collar is like this.
Yeah, I didn't think you guys would be filming. Usually I could slip in without anyone seeing me.
Well, you're looking a lot tidier now.
Thank you.
You are the Canucks resident weird dude. And so from that respect, good to have you on the show tonight because for the last 10 games or so, you've been one of the team's better players. Let's get right to your weirdness. Here's a picture that went viral this week.
Oh, man. See, I don't think that's weird. I think that's one of the coolest things I've ever done, but I guess a lot of people would consider that maybe a little different, kissing a grizzly bear, but like I said, that's one of the coolest things I've ever done.
In the wild, you can smell them from 100 yards away. How would being that close? It must be horrible.
No, it wasn't too bad. You know what? I think it was just the adrenaline going where you don't really think about it. And I had to close my eyes just because I couldn't see. So, you know, I smelled them there, but I couldn't see them.
Leads us nicely into this tweet from R2K. Who exactly instigated the kiss? Was it you or the bear? And did the bear close his eyes?
I think we had mutual affection there. You know, we were both ready for it. He kind of, I was closing my eyes. It was pretty scary. But to be able to train a bear to know how to kiss you on the lips there.
Did it lick your face
cool.
too?
Oh yeah,
really.
In hindsight, I wish I would have opened my eyes a little bit, you know.
Yeah.
But I guess you're supposed to close your eyes when you give a kiss. I don't know.
So. Okay, and a tweet from Sammy Kelly just addressed this, but we'll get the official answer from you. What does grizzly bear breath smell like?
Oh, well, I guess there's not too many people that can answer that question. Like I said, I think I was just kind of more shocked by the situation than kind of remembering. But next time I kiss that. His name's Billy. Next time I kiss Billy, I'll try to remember a little bit.
We need the backstory, obviously. That's at the farm of Mark Dumas, who is a professional animal trainer.
Yep.
He and his wife train wild animals for movies. And how did you end up hooking up with him?
Yeah, I have a friend up here on a local Grouse Mountain. I have a good friend that takes care of the grizzly bears up there. And early in the year, he brought me up, put honey on my hand, and had a grizzly bear lick my fingers. It was through a cage, but he's like, oh, I got a friend that actually has hands-on. You can get right up close with him. And I was like, hey, I'd love to do that. So, you know, I jumped at that opportunity to go over there. He has wolves, eagles, polar bear, a cougar, so just a whole bunch of.
Now polar bears can't be trained, can they?
Oh yeah, this guy
Really?
he swims with them. Like he'll just lay down, and her name's Aggie. She's 18 years old, and it actually like thinks that Mark's its mates, you know. So if you talk to Mark, they tell you not to talk to Mark when he's in the pen with her because she'll get really jealous and she'll come over and be pretty protective of him. So just seeing how they act like that, it was really cool.
It's amazing stuff. All right, well, let's move on to what happened here tonight. A thrilling victory by the Vancouver Canucks, especially the domination that the team showed in the third period. Was this a function of icing the healthiest lineup the Canucks have been able to ice in a while?
Yeah, you know what? We generated a lot of shots, which was, you know, very good against the LA Kings. They're one of the best defensive teams in the league. And, you know, if you're going to put – you need to put shots on a goalie like Quick. You know, I thought we did that well. And he made some good saves, but able to get that second goal late in the game really paid off.
What was this conversation about at the start of the second period?
Start of the second? We both used sticks. Well, he used a combat stick, and I used a mic stick. And both, I don't think, are in business anymore. So I think that's why we're getting a little chuckle.
That was it?
Yeah, I know. So I knew Brownie from
you gotta make
USA.
up some better stuff than that.
Hey, I tell the truth. You know, well, I don't know what you guys want me to make up, but that's the truth.
We accept that. All right. Let's talk about your resurgence, David. And for that, we have to go back to last March to get some context. Helped off the ice with a broken ankle in the game against Detroit here. Did it take, and we'll see it here, terrible injury, but did it take the better part of a year for you to recover?
You know what, it does. And when I had surgery, I remember the doctor telling me, you know what, you can get it done now, it's going to take you a year to recover, or you can try to rehab it, and maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the road, it might come back to kind of haunt you a little bit. So, you know, when he said that, I was like, you know what, I probably can come back 4 months, 5 months tops. You know, I work hard, I'll train, do all the rehab I can to get back. But, you know, in hindsight, he told me it took guys sometimes 2 years. A year was the minimum. So when he said that, I didn't really believe him. But looking back, I can just see how the game, you know, your agility on your skates and the way you read play and be able to react to things, it really did take a while to come back.
First game of the year here, I had that discussion with you in the dressing room because I had a catastrophic ankle injury 1 year myself, and I didn't have surgery. What made you decide surgery? Because you also said that you asked me about just rehabbing instead.
Yeah, and you know, I think the biggest thing is, you know, I think if I can keep my body healthy, it was a tough decision because I wanted to get back quicker rather than later. But looking back, I'm glad that it's going to be healed properly now, and then I can go forward. You know, I still think I got a lot of years left in me, and I don't want to be, you know, out of the game, you know, 4 or 5 years because of an ankle. So I think that was a major point, major decision, and you know, I'm glad I did it.
Until recently, then, it had been a very trying year for you. You started the year with another injury. You were sent to the minors on a conditioning assignment. You were a healthy scratch on some occasions. Very difficult stuff for you to handle. I'm just wondering if, you know, you heard the chatter about, you know, you were going to be a buyout, compliance buyout, and what you thought of it.
Yeah, you know, you don't really pay attention to the media, but you do hear things. And, you know, it would have been very easy to give up this year. Like you said, you know, when you hear buyout, you could think, okay, just start fresh next year, or, you know, getting sent to the minors or being healthy scratched, getting another injury. It would have been, you know, kind of easy just to say, you know what, all right, pack it in this year and I can train hard in the summer and get ready for next year. But, you know what, that never crossed my mind. I wanted to prove that I could play this year. And, you know, it was a time that, you know, as I said before, that my faith got me through it, and you know, really relying on that to go through some of the struggles I've had in my career.
All right, on that topic, a tweet from Ken. The injuries and the challenges you faced this year, how much of a test of your faith were they?
Yeah, it is. You know, within the Christian framework, it's very reassuring when you go through trials and suffering, because I think that draws you closer, you know, to God. If everything was so easy in life, you know, I think you have a tendency to think that you know, you're the strength, you know, that you're your own source of power, when I think it really comes from God himself. And so when you go through trials like that, it kind of brings you closer. And even in the Bible, you know, it says you will go through troubles, and we, you know, God sent his only son to go through the hardest suffering that I think humans will ever know. So it's very comforting to know that he's been through more than we'll ever go through.
Okay, you are a big fan of the great outdoors. You're a pilot, you're a hunter, you've got some criticism for that, and we'll talk about all of that when we continue with David Booth of the Vancouver Canucks on After Hours from Rogers Arena in Vancouver. Welcome back to Rogers Arena. We continue with After Hours. David Booth of the Vancouver Canucks is our guest, and let's get right to it. The John Tortorella clip from earlier in the season.
He's a weird dude, yeah. It's good to have weird dudes. I think sometimes we have locker rooms that are, it's just blasé. You need personality. I think he's inquisitive, is a good way of putting it. I think he sees the game in different ways. I like his personality. I'm not crazy about him. Well, I'll just leave that one alone. I don't want to get too far. No, I'm not.
All right, so clearly he meant it in a nice way. How did you take it?
I took it, you know, in a good way too. I think he explained himself really well, and he actually talked to me after that. He goes, you know, I had a weird question, and he goes, you know what? People say I'm a weird dude too, you know, so he kind of meant it in a good way. And like I guess you saw earlier, kissing a grizzly bear might be weird, but I try to keep it light. You know, I think sometimes we get so, you know, in the locker room, it gets so tense and we kind of lose the joy of the game. And I just try to always have fun, because I mean, I'm doing the best thing in the world, thing that I love the most. So I just want to show that attitude in the locker room.
Well, let's use the word unconventional here, and that applies to the headgear that you use in the Canucks room. So a tweet from Just Lee. Where did you get the Ninja Turtle headband?
I don't even remember. It was when we were young. I have 2 brothers, so we would always battle. I think we would each pick out a Ninja Turtle, and I always liked the nunchucks, so I don't even remember who had the nunchucks. But we would always just goof around. One was, my brother Matt was Donatello all the time. I remember that. But I've had that thing forever, and I kind of just wanted to bring back the childhood, joy I had of just being a kid, and just seeing that kind of reminds me of it.
Do your brothers have similar personalities to you?
Yeah, my brothers are weirder than me, actually. So it's funny. My brothers are the biggest fans. My family is, and it's really good to have. My brother moved down to Florida when I was there, supported me all through there, and then my brother Joel's going through dental school right now, and he still makes time to watch my game. So cool. Really cool.
Good. David, your training regimen is known to be intense, and there is a notion out there that you don't adhere to team protocol. So here's a tweet from Betamax that addresses that. How does he respond to criticism that his off-season interest/training regimen has deleteriously affected him on ice?
That's funny because, I've learned through Twitter that, I think everyone thinks they know everything.
Now, wait a minute. If it's on Twitter, it has to be true.
No, hey, there's a lot of good things that come from Twitter. I met my fiance on Twitter, so those are great things. And so, no
stop right there.
Yeah,
we'll get to that in a sec. Okay.
But, I think everyone's able to voice an opinion when they don't really know the whole story. And the way I looked at my training is I've been given a lot, and been entrusted with a lot. That's a biblical principle, and I have to use the talents I've had to the max, and I don't want to take a shortcut. I don't want to take anything for granted, and so I just really work hard. I don't think I've been the most skilled player. You look at Daniel and Henrik, how skilled they are. That's not my game. I think my game comes from skating and from competing in the corners, getting to the front of the net, using my body, and that is a whole summer of training. So I don't think it's any different. I think there's guys that do more than me, quite frankly, but I just want to use the gift that I've been given and never look back and say I wish I could have done more.
Okay, one more break, and then we're going to save the entire next segment to figure out how in the heck you met your beautiful fiance on Twitter. And we'll also talk about hunting when we continue on After Hours with David Booth. Is Rogers Arena in Vancouver as we continue with After Hours. David Booth of the Canucks is our guest. There are 90,000 hunters approximately in BC, and you're one of them. Tell us about Hunting for Humanity, the meal that you helped organize, the downtown east side, for I think about 1,200 people, and the fare was wild game.
Yeah, I have a good buddy here, Adam. He helped me out. I've gone hunting with him a couple times. A good friend out in Mission, John Gustafson, he provided a lot of the meat for us too. So it's just more the community of hunters, and this is just one little thing. These wild game dinners go on all throughout the United States and Canada. It was just a good thing. Sometimes we drive through these areas and just see people that aren't as fortunate as we are, and to be able to use some of the things that we harvest out in the field and give back to the community was something that I've done growing up in Michigan and just wanted to do here in Vancouver.
You are a big-time hunter, and you know that hunting has its detractors. There's a lot of people watching right now who would be saying, well, you got to ask them this. So when you eat what you hunt, I think that makes hunting defensible. But how do you defend trophy hunting, and in particular bear baiting, which you were criticized for engaging in Alberta last spring?
Those are two very tough questions, and it's sensitive subjects. But I think when they say trophy hunting, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because when you're going after a trophy animal, you're going after the oldest, most mature male species. You're not going after the females or the young cubs or the young animal. You're going after the most specific, and that's hard. I mean, if you were in the field just shooting everything you saw, there would be nothing left. There's way more times I go hunting that I let things go than shoot something. And then along the lines of bear baiting, I don't understand why people don't get criticized for fishing with bait. It's still getting an animal, harvesting it, eating it. You do the same thing with bears, and it's the most humane way to make sure you get a nice shot on the animal and that you're not rushing, that you know where it's going to be and that you can make a close shot. I mean, there's just thousands upon thousands of acres up there that you can always roam and never see anything.
Okay,
so.
That's the hunter's point of view.
Yeah.
You and fiancée Ashley Durham were officially engaged in February. You shared your home video of the proposal on the series NHL Revealed. Here it is.
I want to spend the rest of my life with you.
Oh my God. Stop.
What? Who are you? Ashley Durham, will you marry me?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
You know, David, I must say, Ashley looked a bit shocked there. That wasn't the first time you met her, was it?
Not the first time, but we knew each other. We had a kind of a quick relationship there, but it was kind of when you know, and I knew with her right away.
Now, you went to a teammate for lessons, guitar lessons, because you had another thing in mind. Tell us what that was.
Yeah, I was going to play, we both like country music, and one of our favorite artists is Luke Bryan, so I was going to try to play Crash My Party by Luke.
But who was teaching you?
Zach Dalby.
Yeah.
Very good, and I tried so hard to learn it, and I was going to do it another way, but, I kind of a mama's boy, and so I wanted to have my mom there, and the other way wouldn't involve her, so I did it at home, in the snow. She's from the south, so she never sees snow. I don't know.
Right.
From Tennessee, right?
Yeah, Tennessee.
Okay, we're going to move quickly through 3 pictures here. This is you and Ashley at the Heritage Classic. She's not a great skater yet.
Not yet.
And finally, David, would this be your idea of a dream date?
Oh, that's what I knew. She continues to impress me every day.
Wow.
Right. David Booth,
Cool.
enjoying a resurgence with the Vancouver Canucks. Our guest, captivating as always on After Hours. Thanks for your time,
You
David.
guys are
That was
awesome.
fun.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you guys.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right.